I mean, come on.
Oh, my gosh.
So, what do we have now, Willie?
All right, let's turn now to member of the House Armed Services Committee on More Serious Matters, Democratic Congressman Jason Crow of Colorado. He's just returned from a congressional trip to the Middle East, which included a visit to the Syrian-Jordan border. Also with us is the White House NBC News correspondent Hans Nichols and journalist in residence at Georgetown University School of Foreign Service, Elise Labit. Good morning to you all, Congressman. I'll start with you. You're an Army Ranger, platoon leader with the 82nd Airborne. You served in both Iraq and Afghanistan. Just as a soldier, I want you to think, if you could, for our viewers, about those special operators, the American special operators who were serving in Syria, who got the surprise phone call to stand down and stand aside yesterday morning. What are they thinking today?
Yeah. You know, when I was in Iraq and Afghanistan, I worked all the time with Iraqi forces, Afghan forces, not because it was important, but because it was essential. And we could not have accomplished the mission without these forces. You know, they know the culture, they know the history, they know the terrain, they know the language. You know, we need those folks to get the mission done. And, you know, today, everyone's waking up, and those forces are thinking that the American handshake doesn't matter. You know, the message that Donald Trump just sent to people around the world is that the American handshake doesn't matter. You know, we have Rangers on the ground, we have Green Berets on the ground that have been fighting alongside these forces for years, that have been making promises to these forces that if you fight with us, if you stand shoulder to shoulder with us, we will take care of you and your families. And today we are less safe because of the actions of the president.
And Congressman, you fought alongside, shoulder to shoulder, with local soldiers. What is those members of the SDF, the Syrian Defense Forces, Democratic Forces, excuse me, a lot of them wear American flags on their uniforms because they do fight side by side. What have we left them to now by stepping aside with the president's decision?
Well, we're putting them in a terrible position. You know, if Turkey moves south and invades these Turkish areas, these Kurdish-controlled areas, you know, we are potentially leaving them and their families to slaughter. You know, there is the national security element here for the United States, but there's also the moral element. These are people we've made promises to. These are people that have risked their lives and their families' lives to fight with us, again, because U.S. soldiers have made promises to them. And now we're sitting here potentially leaving them on their own. You know, it is astonishing on so many levels. But there's also the national security element here. You know, this idea that there are about 11,000 ISIS fighters. 11,000. And these are the most battle-hardened ISIS fighters. These are the people that have fought to the end in Raqqa. That are currently being held in makeshift prisons all along northern Syria. These prisons are entirely controlled by the SDF forces. You know, they're sitting here guarding these people. If Turkey moves south, what's going to happen is these SDF forces will abandon their posts to try to fight and defend themselves and their families. These prisons will be unguarded. These 11,000 ISIS fighters will evaporate into Syria and for the rest of the world. Many of them are from places around the world, and that will be an extreme risk for all of us.
So, Congressman, people in